Or do you just want to give me a couple minutes for people to just kind of come in, or?
Let's give 1 minute.
All right, sounds good. Okay. Because you guys, you guys have a YouTube link to kind of pass around to others, right?
Yeah, that should come back and we should be able to
Good,
utilize
okay,
it
that way, in case.
As long as you all are okay with it. We're gonna post you on Facebook and this will be fun.
Ken
We're gonna tweet you.
Ken had said, maybe somebody has to approve it first, but that's fine.
I'm gonna make sure that it looks visually good.
Awesome. I hope so. I hope so.
Behave yourself.
I'm sorry.
Has joined the conference.
Who just joined in?
Anonymous.
Anonymous?
Good morning, this is Andre Thomas.
Hey, Andre.
Good
Hey,
morning.
Michael.
Hello.
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Did you need a
Packet.
reference guide?
Yeah, thank you.
It's a Frankie packet.
Some of my team members and my management might be joining as well, but
Yeah.
Okay, good.
I just wanted, them to, if they wanted to listen in, so.
I think the more the merrier, right, Greg?
That's right.
So we got 11 so far.
Well, if you wanna get started, Rebecca, that's fine.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Because I know we have limited time. We don't wanna pitchforks and torches outside.
I know, I don't want anybody mad. I don't want that at all. Okay, good morning, everyone. My name's Rebecca. Some of you know me, some of you may not. I work in the ILSC on the second floor in the central building here at 7500 Security Boulevard. I've been here for about 10 years, supporting you guys, the CMS community, on the Microsoft Office suite, on all kinds of good things. So most of you know that we support the Microsoft Office suite. So we also do Adobe PDF. So if you need help with a PDF or Adobe Connect, the teleconferencing, the WebEx, we also support any operating system questions you might have, walking you through how to use the VPN, the guest wireless if you have an outside device, secure zip, and backing up your data. And number one big thing that everybody calls about is 508, and that's a big thing that we do support as well. So Craig asked me to come here today to show you guys some goodies here in Excel. So I'm going to be live demoing most of the items today. And as Frankie sent you the quick reference guide, all of you have it in the room as well, on the appointment as well.
Join the conference.
So I'm going to go ahead and get started since we have a limited amount of time. So as you guys can see here, I have Excel, and actually this is your guys' division group's Excel spreadsheet. So that's what I'm actually going to be demoing some of the things today, because Craig had said this is one of the spreadsheets you guys utilize a lot, and maybe I could show you some things that, using this specific spreadsheet. So this has been great. I've been playing around with it. It's really nice and it's wonderful. So one of the first things that Craig wanted me to go over with you all is formulas. So formulas is a big thing in Excel that can be very counterintuitive and very advanced. So I'm just going to start with some basic stuff. This is just a basic training today. So with Excel, you always have to start out with the equal sign. The equal sign is where it all begins. If you don't have that equal sign, Excel's not going to understand how to get the formula started. So you guys already have some sum formulas in here already, summing up a column. So as you can see there, it starts with equal, and then it's a range of cells. So it's going to be B3 to B28. So that colon is showing the range of cells. So those range of cells are being summed right here immediately at 5,870. So if I wanted to maybe do it.
How do we know it's B3?
Right here.
So I see- I
No,
see-
you're fine.
I
Right
see
here,
it's-
B3.
Right, but I mean.
If you scroll up here, let me scroll up for you.
Oh, okay,
So-
okay, yeah, that.
Yeah, so that's where your data starts, and then that B3 is where it ends. That's just your range. Now you can go on to B20,000 if you want, if you had a ton of data.
No, because it was scrolled up, I didn't know what.
Sure.
What
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, just please stop me. You guys ask questions. I'm going to be going over a lot of stuff today. So Craig and me decided if you guys have questions after each section, I'm going to go over. Just please, ask. I'll let you guys totally stop me and say, hey, I'm stuck, or I got a question. So
Speak English.
What'd you say, Craig?
Speak English. That's what it's,
Speak-
yeah, I
yeah.
don't understand what you're talking about.
So But your formula can change, okay? So you don't have to use equal sum to get it started. You can use equal to get it going, and then you can maybe do this plus this, and that does the same thing. Now, maybe you needed to divide something. Well, all you have to do is change that, the symbol in between to whatever you're going to be using. So if you're dividing, you would use the divide. If you're going to be multiplying, you would use the the little asterisk, Shift 8, or use the asterisk on your keyboard, on the keypad. So that's timesing, and then you can minus. So just use the minus symbol. So just change your operator in the middle. That's all we're doing. Now, I will tell you real quickly too, there is another part of this that you can use, which is actually makes it a lot simpler. So say this was not here. We didn't have that at all there. This hadn't been added up yet. So we're going to go ahead and use the auto sum. So you have formulas already ready to go. So you have auto sum. Auto sum is going to take those, do the same thing we just had typed in there, but it's going to do it for you so you don't have to type anything. Now you also have, I'm not going to get into it too much today, but if you guys have further questions, we can go over it later, or you can call me about it. You have average, you have count numbers, and you have min and max. So there's more functions inside of there that I'll type it in for you. So if you're trying to find the min, the average of something, you can go ahead and use those as well. And it would do the same thing. It's going to automatically insert it for you. But it's just easier if if you want to get started, that's, kind of understanding the formula behind how it gets started and how it works and how it goes. So that's formulas for you. Okay? Another thing we're going to go over is copying them, because maybe you need it copied to another spreadsheet and you don't want to have to type it over again. What Excel does is once you copy that, you can use a special paste to paste the formula again, and it changes based on where you're putting it. So if you're trying to copy it to another area, maybe you're trying to copy this formula and you want to put it here. Well, you're going to right click and you're going to go to paste special, and you can use the formula option. So as you can see there, it just pasted it. Let me hit escape there. See how it changed it on me? Because now I'm in C, I'm not in B anymore. So it automatically knew, hey, I'm not in this cell anymore, I'm over here. So that's one way. Now, another way, and your guys' spreadsheet's a great example for that. So say I don't have any of this here. I don't have none of the rest of these columns all summed yet. We have a special little tool that's wonderful, the fill handle. It's awesome. You go right in the corner there, and I don't know if you guys, hopefully everybody can see this, but I'm gonna hover right there on that little corner of that cell. See that little black cross? That's your autofill handle. I'm just gonna drag it to the left. To the right. It just totally copied that formula from where I was and filled it to the right. I'm like backwards here, left with my right. So what it did was, I don't have to type anything. It just copied it and it moved it. So as you use the fill handle, it recalculates based on the cell that you're in. So now it's moved to C, it's moved to D, E, F, G, and H. And I didn't have to do anything but use that fill handle to drag it over. Same with any type of formula. I'm not going to get into real advanced formulas today, but if, VLOOKUPs, same situation. You get the formula going, you can either drag it down or over, left, right, up, down, and it'll take it to wherever you need it to go. So that little guy's right there in the corner, right in the, it's called your fill handle. Just remember, this is your selection tool, this is your dragging tool, and this is your fill handle. So you have three things you'll see there as you hover.
What
So
was
just-
the dragging tool?
I'm sorry,
The dragging tool, I didn't.
the dragging tool will drag a cell. So say I don't want these here anymore,
Mhm.
you can drag them over here.
Wait, how did you do that?
Sure. So you can copy a column, as you guys already know, but you can also drag a column. So what I'm doing,
So you highlight it.
yep, and then you get this tool. You have to get this tool though. See that? You have to get that little like 4 arrowed,
Okay.
kind of like a toggle switch looking thing, but you can drag it over. And there it's moved it from H to I.
Oh, wow.
So just remember, this is your selection tool. That selects a cell. this drags, and this is your fill handle.
With the formula.
What do you mean selection tool?
This is your selection tool. So this selects cells. So when you see that, it's selecting the
It
cell.
just means that that's the cell.
Yeah, that's your cell you're on. And the same thing if this is the cells that you have selected. Correct. That's your, it's like a white cross. It looks like a white cross.
When you drag it over like that, does the formula follow?
Yes. But see how it's moved it? It's not H anymore, it's I.
Okay.
So it's, where Excel knows, hey, it knows that this is kind of like, I gotta do my cross point. So I-3, I-38. Kind of like playing Battleship, because it matches it up based on where it's moved. So, okay. So I just want to show you that quick, because some people are like, what are all those little icons I'm hovering on? What is that? So the next thing is expanding columns. This is a big deal because you guys have a lot of data. You're probably typing in a lot of information, and you want to quickly open up that column or that row to get it expanded for you. So there's several ways to do this. So you can either, so if I'm here and this is really tiny, okay, I can't see all that stuff. I can't see what's going on there. So I can double click in between A and B, double left click, and see how it just expanded? It expands it based on what the information is inside of it. So that way you don't have to sit there and, now you can manually drag it if you want to. Hey, if you want to make your life hard, go ahead. But
Because I ain't know no other way.
Right. But if you want to automatically just double left click right in between there, and that's the same for a row as well. So if a row has a lot of stuff, or maybe it's a little tight like that, see how your column's over here? You can't see that stuff anymore because it's the row now. Double click in between the rows. Now you got to get this icon that you see here with the line, with the arrow pointing up and the arrow pointing down. Double click and how it expands it automatically for you. You don't have to worry about automatically dragging it down and doing that.
Okay.
There's several ways to do this, but that's probably the best way, and that's the same if you have a bunch of rows. Like I said, if you have a bunch of rows, like it'll do it all at once for you if you have it highlighted. Again, you can highlight your rows and your columns by just be left clicking. Columns are done by letters. Rows are done by numbers. So when you left click here, that's selecting that whole column. When you do this, it's selecting that whole row into infinity. So just know that you don't have to select just one thing. Now there's also, I wanted to show you just this real quick, there's the format option as well. So as in anything in Microsoft, there's several ways to do one thing. It's what you find and what you deem necessary to make it easier for you. So you can also come here and use the auto fit row height or auto fit row width. Right now we're looking at the width because we can't see the width of this. So we're going to do auto fit the column width. So now that expands it as well. Now this is all under the Home tab under Format. And you have to have something selected, of course, in order for this to work. And again, if you really want to get technical with it, you can even come in here and type in a row width that you deem necessary. But that gets a little too convoluted because you don't know what width it should be. You can check what the column width is right now. So right now it's 36.57. So you know right now that's tiny. If we auto fit the width and come back into Format and go to column width, we can see that it's expanded almost 30 to 65 now.
What does the 65 represent? Is that the number of characters or the number of
It's actually
millimeters, or?
Excel kind of converts it into its own, not millimeter, not like inches or anything, but it converts it into its own width and column width and space.
So it's like 65 whatsits?
Yeah. So you have a specific amount that you're allowed to expand it to, and Excel deemed its own kind of number formatting because you can't go so far past a certain width and past a certain height of that cell measurement that they're talking about. So that's kind of like their own deemed, Microsoft has kind of deemed it, because that's certainly not inches. So, I mean, I can look it up for you guys. I just kind of go by what Excel, what their measurements are. They don't really get behind the nitty gritty of what it actually is. But I can send you guys the there's a lot of limitations in Excel. So there's, certain width and heights limitations, restrictions that you have. So if you typed a whole bunch of information in a cell and you can't get it any farther, you've reached that limit. I think the height is like 456, which is a lot, but if you're going to be doing a lot of wording, you might want to go to Word instead of Excel at that point, because you're reaching the limitations of what Excel can handle inside of one cell. So, okay. So one big thing that Craig wanted me to go over is converting numbers into percentages, and that's the next thing we're going to go over. Converting numbers into percentages. So you have a number, and you guys have a lot of data in these sheet tabs here that you guys must collect and create. So this is a number. This is a decimal point, of course, but say you need this as a percentage. Well, there's a great tool, which I'm going to go over in a second, to convert that into a percentage. But there's one little trick to get it to be correct, because I'm going to give you a little bit of information about Excel real quick. If you apply a percentage format to an existing number that's already in your spreadsheet, Excel multiplies those numbers by 100 to convert them into percentages. So what it does is it'll automatically do that behind it. So I'm going to show you real quick. So we're just looking at the females here. We can look at the female percentage of total employees here at CMS. So this is the all CMS tab here. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up to this number formatting group up on the ribbon here under the Home tab. So as you see here, these are groupings inside of Excel. So we're in the number grouping right now. So there's a little percent symbol right there. If I hit that, it's going to convert that into percentage. Well, that looks absolutely wrong and out of this world wrong. That can't be right. Because what in the world's that? So you guys already have a formula in there. You're dividing D7 by B7, and then you're timesing it by 100. So there's already a formula there, so I'm already ready to go. So all I have to do is Excel is saying, well, it's already multiplied it, like I said. It does it behind the scenes. It already multiplies it by 100. But to get it into a percentage that makes sense, we're going to divide it by 100. So all I'm doing is, and I'm going to show you a way to do this without a formula already there. So I'm going to hit divide, and then I'm going to type in 100. When I hit enter, that looks a little bit better, doesn't it? 71%. Okay, that's a percentage now. It was a decimal point, and now it is a percentage. So it looks a little bit more. Now, there's another little trick to this, and I'm going to show you too. So maybe you want to see, right now, Excel is doing its own little math behind this.
Join the conference.
It's doing a whole number. So if I don't want to see it's rounding it up. If I don't want to see that, maybe I want to see one little decimal point, it's 0.4. Maybe I want to see one more, it's 0.43. So that's what it was before when we saw it as a decimal point. It was 71.43. So maybe if you want to see that again, you're just coming up here to decrease and increase the decimal point to see more of the percentage. Now you can decrease it to get rid of it as well. Now real quickly, I'm going to go here real quick to some percentages that don't even have that formula already there, just to show you what it looks like. So this is 600%. Well, that does not look right at all. Like, why would it be something, it might be, but maybe we want to see, that doesn't make sense. So we want to make, on a specific amount of data that you're looking at. What I'm going to do is put an equal sign in front of it. And again, I'm just going to divide by 100. That looks a little bit better. It might be 6%, because your data might have been something, 6% of something. It might not have been 600, but this converts it, again, into a more acceptable amount. And same over here. I had 890%. That didn't make sense, so I divided it by 100. Whenever you have a percent that's not already a decimal point or making sense, you can always do that to get it to make, because Excel doesn't accurately display the percentages because it doesn't know how to format them based on what you guys are trying to do. So this is just showing you guys this. Now, everybody's data is different. Not everybody's data is going to look the same. So this might not apply to you, but it might. So I'm just showing you that might be something that you might want to do to your percentages. Because it might not be displaying accurate. It might be it might say 0.1 as a percentage, but it's technically 10%. So if I have, 0.1 here, I might want to put the equal sign, I always equal sign, and then divide by 100. Whoop, did it work? It might not be working for that one, but that was an example that I was going to use you guys for that point. But that might be, well, I'm sorry, let's put it into a percentage to see what it is. It's 0. But just to show you that was what Excel's example. Now, I just want to show you guys too real quick. This guy up here that I'm working in is the formula bar. That's the formula bar. That's where you type formulas. That's where you can see data getting typed in as well. I just want to show you, that's where I'm working in right now. And you can expand that and make that wider and smaller. That's where your formulas kind of exist, and can be typed and manipulated. So you're not down inside of the body of the spreadsheet. Okay, so moving on, if you guys don't have any more questions, that was a big one to kind of go over, especially with some of the data that you guys are working in. If I can go over another example, if you guys want to move on, I go on to the next section. If you guys don't have any questions with that. Okay, so formatting cells for dates and percentages. Okay, you guys don't really have any dates inside of your spreadsheet that I saw. It was a lot more numerical data. So I'm just going to show you the date thing real quick. So I have a bunch of dates here. And I just made up some dates. And again, I can use my fill handle. When you use the fill handle and you already have some dates selected, the fill handle will automatically start going on to the next day, the next day, the next day. And I could go all the way down into infinity till 2020 if I wanted to. I just wanted to show you that when you start something, even if you start something with Monday, Tuesday, just real quick, see how you can start, it'll automatically fill that for you. I just want to show you. You can do that with months, days, numbers. The fill handle is a lovely tool. And you can, do that, and it'll repeat. It'll keep repeating based on what you started with. If you started with Tuesday, Sunday, whatever, it'll go on. Same with numbers, and like I said, months. I just want to show you that. So I got these dates. Well, my boss called and said, hey, I don't want it looking like that. I don't want the actual day of the week, comma, the month, the day, and then the year. I want it converted into something else. So again, we're going to go up to this number grouping up at the top here under the Home tab. One of two ways you can do it. You can hit this drop down and just pick another date. Well, that's the short version of that date. You can just reformat it to another date. Or I can customize it by doing it something totally different. So I can come here and there's all kinds of dates you can pick. So what I'm doing is just hitting, let me select my dates again. I'm hitting this little dialog box in the corner. That's each grouping has a dialog box that you can open up and see more functions. So all I'm doing is left clicking on that little guy in the corner, and I got the dialog box for that grouping. So what I'm doing is I'm going into the number tab to look at other dates that I can format it. So you got a whole bunch of dates here. So I can pick, maybe they want it to look like this instead, or maybe they want it to be shortened up and look like that. All you do is convert it, and it reconverts it for you. So you don't have to sit there and be like, oh my gosh, I got to retype all that. Well, you don't want to do that. That's the same with, as you saw there, the same with dates, the same with currency, time. So for instance, real quick, I'll show you, if I had a time behind here, so 10A, and maybe I'll get real specific with it. I'm going to say 12 seconds. I'm going to put AM. Okay? Well, see where is my time? I can't see it. It's gone. It's not there. Well, it's not formatted to have that data shown. So what I'm going to do is go back up here to my number dialog box for that font, for that grouping, and I'm going to come down here to time. I'm sorry, I'm going to go to date and time. Well, time and date both have the same format. So I'm going to come here. Actually, they don't have seconds here. Let's see if the date does. They don't have seconds. So guess what? We're going to customize it. And this gets a little complicated, but if you guys need further help, some of it already might be built in for you, and some of it might, but you can customize it. So right now we have a date, and then we have a time. So some of these don't have seconds, as you can see. See how some of them have SS at the end there? Well, I can type it. So right now we have day, MM, DD, 2 days, and then we have 4 things for the year, okay? We're gonna do space, okay? And then we're gonna do hour, colon, minute, second, and then we're gonna do AM/PM. So now that I've just created that, that's specific to my data. Again, you have built-in ones that are already done for you. These get convoluted at times. But now I have my date and there's my time now. I can see it. I can see the date and the time. Same thing if I had the same, and it's reconverted it into not be that dash, day dash. Now you can reformat that if you wanted to. I can come back in here. And if you want it that way, you would do day dash month, what is it? If it was 3, and then you could do year. That's what it would look like if you wanted it to look like that. If you don't, again, reformat it to be something else. The same thing here, if I had a time behind here, I had 11, AM or 11 PM, we'll do some crazy seconds here, 35, and we'll do PM. Again, I can't see it. Quick and easy way, once you formatted one cell, just use the format painter to paint on to the next one. That way you don't have to go back in and reapply. Now that custom number formatting that I already have is already there. So I can go do it again, or I can just use this little paintbrush up here in the corner, format it on, and there we go. I don't have to worry about. It's easy, don't have to worry. You can do the same thing with the rest if I had time in here. And that's a nice way to do that. Percentages.
Yeah, you can drag it. Can you drag that down and keep?
Yeah, I could, Yolanda, I
Would you
can.
go if you-
I don't, I could, but the problem is, I can use the format painter and do that, but I don't have any, it's just gonna, I don't have any times. So it's just gonna put in 12 AM, because that's the default. But yeah, you can, just use the format painter and apply it to the rest. I could do the whole rest of the cells here, just drag and let go. So now all the rest of them have been applied with that formatting. And you're ready to go, like maybe you need to type a time in here. You're ready to go with that, and you can just do that, and it's ready to be seen and shown. You're right, that's a good question, good point. Just use the format painter. Once one cell is formatted, highlight the rest. You'll see your cursor, you have your selector tool, it just put the little paintbrush next to it. Well, that means the format painter is on and ready to go.
And then when you're done with it, how do you get rid of it?
Escape,
Okay.
escape on your keyboard, yep. And once you've used it, it'll go away.
Thank you so much.
Is there a question on the phone?
Thank you for that tip. That was really good.
Oh, you're welcome. Very welcome. So percentages, real quick. I know we got a half an hour left here, folks. So percentages. I showed you guys how to convert our format percentages. So like if you have a number, again, if you just have a number 8, well, it's just going to do an 8. Again, you can go ahead up here and convert it into whatever you need it to. But again, if it doesn't look right, if it's a formula or something, it's just not calculating right. Remember, if you need it as a percentage, use those extra additional formulas to get it to convert it into a percentage. So if I need this as a decimal, I can move the decimal point wherever. I can use the 1,000 separator if it's going to be. But now it's 8.00%, because this is a percentage and this is not a number. Again, you can convert this into percentage just by hitting the little percent sign up in the number grouping. Again, just make sure if that doesn't look right, divide by 100. Because Excel automatically is, timesing by 100 instead of dividing. It does it behind the scenes. So now we have 8% instead of. And if you have a bunch, like you guys, I'll show you guys in your spreadsheet. Like I said, you guys got a lot of percentages. If you wanted all of these converted into a percent, just make sure that you're dividing by 100. And that might not make sense to the rest of your, to the rest of your data, but if there's not a formula already there, just make sure you start now with the equal sign and dividing by 100. And now you got 44%. And you can move it back These were all percentages before, just like this. This is a percent of 27.78 divided by 100. I'm gonna convert it into a percentage if I haven't already done so. You can move that decimal point back. When you move the decimal point back, it's just rounding it up. So when you decrease it, rounding it up to 28. When you increase it again, it's back to its original decimal point. So the next couple of things we're going to go over, well, I'll go over the next formula situation, and then the next couple of things are a little bit kind of like simple, basic stuff that's going to be quick and easy. So I'm going to go over calculating dates real quick with you guys, because Craig had said dates, and some of your stuff, you guys have a lot of dates and things that you're trying to calculate. Dates can get very, very complicated. Again, how they are formatted, how they were typed in. So because of that, I just made the basic, because usually everybody uses the slash, backslash, forward slash, backslash usually to type in their dates. So these are just dates I typed in, just random dates, okay? And then I got some formulas over here. So I'm going to show you them real quick, and we can get, if you guys have further questions, just let me know. I can help you afterwards. I'm just going to quickly go through this. So this formula right now is taking that date of June 25th, 2018, okay, and it's saying how many days are in between June 25th and November 1st of 2018, okay? There's 129 days. So what this formula is doing is saying, hey, how many days are in between these two dates? All I'm doing is typing equals to start it, and days is one of the many dates formulas that you have. So I'm going to do equals days, open up the paren, because you always have to open up the paren to get the date started, to get the formula started. Okay? So if I erase this and start it over, it's going to ask me, hey, well, I got to type something here to get the formula going. So you can use, it already knows, this is a built-in formula inside of Excel, so it already knows that I need something behind here. See this little FX here up in the next to the formula bar? That is also a little nice, helpful little thing that helps you, because it tells you when you hit that, it's the function argument behind the formula. So what it's going to do is say, hey, I need something here and I need something here. And it's actually explaining it to you what it needs. It needs a start date and it needs an end date. So all I'm doing is I can hit this little box at the end, get this formula, because that's the first one, hit this little box, and get the second date, because that's my end or start or whichever, vice versa. Now, right now, that's negative because it's negative because I did the one older. So you could probably flip-flop it to be F2. And again, F2 and F1 are just the cells where that date is located. That's all that is, F1 and F2. So now it's not in the negative, it's in the positive, because I put the older date in front of it. So that's just telling me how many days. Now you can do months. Well, months is probably not going to work because I don't have it formatted right, but I can show you guys that here in a second. I could probably show you what month, technically, it's what month this is. Sorry, I typed it wrong. There we go, month. Whoops. Sorry, there we go. That's, how many months. That's how many months. I'm sorry, I typed it wrong. It's just month. And you can do year. I'm not going to get in all that. That's just a different, I just want to show you days and then month and then year. What days, plural, how I had an S there. That's between how many days. That's why I had days at the beginning there. This is just telling you what year is this is. That's all. Because maybe you're just trying to extract that. Day. It's just telling you what that is. But I'm not want to, yes, Craig.
Is there a way, because those are calendar days, is there a way to make it business days?
Yes. I was going to go over that with you guys. I have some other date formulas here, because this can get really complex and convoluted. But there's something called non-working days, it's weekday, and then there's weekday, and there's non-working days, and then there's ones that count the holidays. And And I didn't get into this, but I can show you guys that another time, but there's a bunch of them. There's so many date formulas that we can go into. It gets, you can go up here, and look at all of them. There it is, network days. If you hover, it'll tell you. This returns how many days, how many whole work days are in between 2 days. There's one that even tells you the holidays. I can get into that too. There's all kinds here. I can go over any of these with you guys. I mean, I didn't show those examples, but yes, you're right. Yes, that's a great question. There's another one. I think it's non-working days. I call it that because it counts how many holidays, and you can exclude holidays as well. You just have to know what holiday you want to get excluded or what you want to include it in there, because there might be a day that you guys have to work, which we don't, but there might be a day that somebody's working, but you can count and not count those. So there it is, holidays. So you can type in, I don't want 11/24, I want to exclude that from the working calendar. So you could type that in. I think that's Thanksgiving this year if it falls on that day, but you could exclude that from there. And then you could have like this is your start end date, and this is your, you know what I mean, and then get the date. It's probably not going to work because I don't have it built right, but that's just an example of, I got to reformat it the correct way. That's just an example of how that would work. It's not formatted correctly because I didn't have that built and ready for you guys. But another one is if you want to calculate dates. You want to add dates, years onto a date, or the same with percentages. If I'm trying to take, add on 25% to something, this is how you would do this. This is just an example of dates, but but you can do, I have the years down here. These are years. So this is 5 years, 10 years, 15 and 20 years. So what this is doing is I have a date here and I need to add 5 years on to this date. So this formula is doing that for me. This is just an example of, a lot of people call me and say, hey, I need to know what's 5 years from this date. What is it? Well, it's February 3rd, 2018 from this date. So this formula is breaking it down there. And it's adding, that +5 is adding 5 years. This one, this one is adding 10 years to this date. This one's 15 and this one's 20. Because you might want a projected amount of information. Now you can do the same thing with days. So I could put a +20 behind the day or the month. But again, it's just depending on your data and what you're looking for. And these formulas, like I said, can get convoluted. It depends on your data. That's why it's hard sometimes to get this kind of going, because everybody has their data in different formats. I've ran into where people have copied it from a source and it needs to be cleared out, and it's dirty. It got dirty in the midst of copying it. So it's hard to format it. And but that's it. We're here to help you get it cleared out and get it corrected, because there might be something going on behind that cell that you just can't see. So we have to clear it out and kind of get it recalculated to be right. Because these formulas that I'm showing you guys can get really complex because they have to be just right in order to work. Excel's not going to understand it if you don't have it typed right. Just like you saw me there, I was getting some errors there. It's because I didn't type it right to get it ready for you guys. I don't have it formatted correctly. Again, with this one, it's just adding 5 years onto this. And with that, I was going to show you guys, if you're trying to, say somebody called me once and they said, I want to add 25% to something. Again, it's the same kind of formula. You wouldn't use the date formula, but you're going to use a formula where it would add 25% or 10% or 15% onto that to get it to increase, because you want to see an increase maybe in your data set, an increase of 25% or 10%. And I can show you guys that if that ever comes up. I don't have an example of that, but so that's kind of like, and also too, you can calculate dates. Again, just make sure you're starting out with your equal sign, okay? And you want to see the difference between these two. Again, it's 129 days. Maybe you want to see, what that is added together. Well, that's a lot of, that's a lot. I don't have it formatted right, but I have to format as a date. But, that would be a lot, you know what I mean? I mean, that's just to show you just how that would work. If you wanted to add those two dates together, but you probably wouldn't add two dates. I've always had somebody asking me to minus them. Because that probably, doesn't make sense to do it, but you would probably minus these two together just to see how many days are in between. Or maybe you want to know how many months. You just have to reformat the formula to be based on that.
One thing we do is we have a deadline date for something, and then we want to calculate backwards. What is the 70th day before the deadline? What is the 180th day before the deadline?
Oh, I
et cetera.
gotcha. Is this this spreadsheet, I didn't see any dates.
No, not on that particular, it's a different one, but.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But yeah, sometimes, looking
Sure,
at
that's
the
a great-
date.
Yeah, you just show it to me and then we can kind of go over that. I mean, I don't know what the dates look like, but yeah, that's like you're trying to find the 70th day, you mean inside that data set?
Right. So if you had 10/1/2018 and the next cell where you want to calculate, you would do whatever that is, comma, minus 180 or something like that. I
Right, to
can't
get the
remember exactly
70.
what the formula is, but something like that, to be able to
Right.
do 180 days before. If you want to do 180 days after, you take the minus sign out.
Right, so 10, we can try it here. Hopefully I got it all formatted right. Like if that's the date, well, we can do 2017. So you're trying to find out like if you're trying to find out 100 days beyond that, I might need to format this, but 180 days from that.
Mhm.
I mean, I'd have to make sure that's right, because sometimes Excel, but that, I have it formatted as a date, so it's April 4th of 2017 if I minus the 180 days from 2017. Now, if I did 2018, of course, it would be change the year, but, if you want to add, it'd be the same thing, just type how many days, I don't know if that's exactly, but type how many days and just put your denominator, your operator in between.
Mhm.
Now, the 70th day, I'd have to look that up. I didn't give you guys an example of that. I'm sure there's a way to do that too. But if you guys want to call me, I can show you that. I can look that up after we're done the call.
Okay.
I can show it to you. It's, because you're trying to find a specific amount of days. But yeah, that's how that would work there.
It's more program management, so you're taking the due date and then you're going back and you're putting milestones
I
at
gotcha.
specific dates backwards.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a great example of how you would use a date formula. That's a really great example, yeah.
Yeah, correct, that's a really good idea, because we have so many deadlines to just get it knocked out, like what's 60 days, 30 days, so that we.
Right,
yeah,
and so
yes.
sometimes we find ourselves just really piling on for that due date rather than
Right,
chunking
yeah,
it.
rather than, yes.
Right, and you guys can get if you have a 60-day, 108, I don't know what you guys, everybody does things differently, but you have a day and you're just trying to find out what that due date would be on something. If I'm gonna use this, again, if you already have it built in, all I have to do is just do equal, that plus this to find out what that date would be. That's 30 days. And again, you can drag this down. I gotta do J2. I gotta format these as days. I don't think they are days, but they might, I'm sorry, I don't have here we go. We'll just do that, there we go. That makes more sense. I don't have dates here, that's why it didn't work. So that'd be 60 days from October 2nd would be December 1st, 2018. Something like that. And then again, you can do 70, whatever, whatever you guys are looking for, whatever the 70th day. Again, just use your denominator in between the operator, You can minus it, whatever. Again, you probably wouldn't be dividing dates, because you're not, dates, it's just adding and subtracting is what you're, adding, I don't know, you'd be adding a specific, you wouldn't be adding two dates together, but you might be adding a
Right.
specific number to it like you're doing here, which was a great
Right.
example. I'm glad you brought that up, because that's a better example. You could do that. But you guys might have specifics, so just let me know what it is and I can look at it and kind of see what you guys are,
And
That's
I think one other thing too to stress is that when you're dealing with a certain cell with information and then you're creating a formula based on that cell, if there's stuff outside of the numbers that you're looking to calculate,
right,
so in other words, you have a date, but then you put a comma and you type in Tuesday on your own or whatever, and it's not part of the formula,
right.
is that gonna then preclude that formula from working on
Holly
Excel
Has
because
left
you've
the
got
conference.
Yes.
extraneous information?
Yes, because text is formatted, you'd have to use a different formula.
Mhm.
So you would want to not make it so, complicated for yourself and it's complicated for Excel because Excel's going to be like, well, it's going to be looking at that date and it's going to give you an error. Because it's like, oh, I see letters, text in here along with dates and I'm not sure what I'm supposed to be doing with that. So you might want to, I can show you, there's a data delimited thing where you can split stuff if you have a bunch of stuff like that.
That might be part 2.
Where I can help you, I can show you real quick, but it's called text to columns. It splits stuff based on the information. So if you have a date and then comma Tuesday, I can use this to delimited or fixed. I can help you split that into a whole other column.
Oh, okay.
So that way that information is separated from the data that you're trying to actually, and it's real easy to use. I didn't go over that, but I certainly can if you guys want me to today. But if you give me an example of it, I can show you, on your computer. Like I said, I can remote into your guys' computer, or I can, you can come down and see me, or come up and see me on the second floor, and I can bring your data with you. But yeah, that's a great idea, because if there's something else in here, Excel, see how it says, well, I don't know what that is now. You got,
So
you got,
here's an example. If you've got
Tuesday there.
you got a spreadsheet and you're looking to calculate cost,
Right.
for example. So if you have each item is $3.99,
Right.
and you've got 7 items. So it's easy enough to put the formula 7 times whatever
Right.
the cell is with the $3.99. But if you say 7 boxes,
Oh, $3.99.
the word boxes in there is going to
Exactly.
not allow you to be able to use that formula.
Right. So if I have that, a whole bunch of times, right, and I try to add this up, like using my auto sum or whatever, it's gonna, it's not gonna understand it. Well, it didn't understand it. It just puts whatever there because it doesn't understand that there's letters there. So again, if you wanted to, you could use this real quick. I'll show you, text to columns. There's spaces there. So what I would use is the fixed width, or I'm sorry, delimited, because there's a comma, there's a space. And I'll just show you, I know this is, I'm doing this quickly, but I would do delimited because that's a character or a space. I'm gonna hit next. I'm gonna choose space because that's what the space is, okay? And I'm gonna hit next and then finish. See how it split it out? Well, now it's summing it correctly because that text is gone. So right now I have, okay, well that makes sense. If I'm adding this up, well now this is over here and it's extraneous data that I've just extracted from that. So, yeah, you're right. That's a good example. Great point. Because Excel doesn't understand it. It's not that smart yet to know. It only works on how it was programmed, so it's not going to understand certain things. And a lot of times people call me and their data is not formatted correctly. Like I was showing you guys, they might have phone numbers with dashes and parentheses around that first 410 number, and their other numbers don't have any of that. Well, you need to get it reformatted. Well, you can use this. There's other concatenate formulas and other formulas I can show you where you can extract that out. And you can do a find and replace. A find and replace is probably the best way. I could have done that as well here. I could have found of boxes. I'll show you guys real quick. There's so much to this. We could go all day. I could do this, find what of boxes, and I could replace it with nothing. That's the other way to do it. It's a quick and easy, quick and dirty way to do it, get it done. Trying to get extraneous data out of something. Find 2 parentheses, replace it with nothing. Find dashes, replace it with nothing. That's another way. So it just found that and got rid of it. So I'm glad you guys are bringing this up because it helps me show you, because you guys are using specific things and I don't know what, everybody calls me different types of data sets. So it's good to know what you guys are using because it helps you guys understand it, and figure it out. So
Could you hit on, since we have a few minutes, can you hit on the getting rid of merged cells and
yeah, sure.
and maybe wrapping text?
Sure, I got that on my chart, on my list. Real quick, I did want to go over creating a new worksheet. That's pretty simple. It's just hitting that plus sign down there. That creates a new sheet tab inside of here, and you can start typing data. Also, to create a new workbook, just come here. I just wanted to show you that. I know you guys probably already knew that. You can start a whole new workbook just like that too. And then you got all kinds of sheet tabs here and you can rename them. You know, whatever, you know, you can't use, sometimes you can't use certain characters in there, but yes. I did have charting data, and if you want to quickly go over that, I can show you that too if you want me to focus on more other things, but I did want to show you that because I wanted to quickly go over 508 too, because that's one of the big things with 508
Yeah, that's
is
huge.
putting an alt text on a chart. So real quick, I wanted to show you that. So if I'm charting on the total employees here at CMS, this is the quick and dirty way to get a chart created. Select the data. I'm just highlighting 2 pieces of data, just real quick and easy, simple. I'm gonna come here to insert, and I'm gonna pick a bar chart. And there you go. That's the best way to get that done. It's the easiest way. To select your data and then pick which chart you're gonna use. Now I have a chart, and you can visualize your data. So that's a quick way. There's a lot more too that I won't get into it today. If you guys want help with it, please call me because there's a lot to charts and you can get really complex with it. Wrap text, I'm going to go over that in borders and alignment and then the print area because I know you had to ask me about that, Craig. So I'm going to move this out of the way real quick. So wrap text, yes. I have a better example here of that. I was going to show you guys. I was just going to type a sentence. The red fox runs. Okay, see how that's going into the next cell, and it's like, wait a minute, is that in that cell or is it in the cell I'm in? Where is it? I don't know. It's flowing on. That's because your wrap text isn't on. Okay, see how that's up on the home tab here? Just turn that on and see how it wraps it down. Okay, now, right now it's wrapping it again based on the content. It's wrapping it down based on it. It's expanding it out. Now, I can go like this to get it to look like a sentence. Okay, and then I can bring this up maybe a little bit just to get it to. Now there's another thing I want to show you real quick. Say you're trying to make a list. A lot of people call me about this. Alt-Enter helps you make sentences, or Alt-Enter bounces things down in a cell. See that? You can't enter in Excel because enter means it thinks you're bouncing down to the next cell. So I just want to show you that real quick. Again, if I have wrap text off, see how it looks like that? Turn it back on. There we go. That's wrap texting. I have it in the quick reference guide, but printing and all that stuff, that can get really complex because it depends on your data and how much data you have and what's going on. So this actual tab is beautiful, and I'm going to show you real quick the print area thing. Because print area is a real quick and easy way to get, you just want to print something in just a specific area. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight just my data, okay? This is a beautifully made chart. I kind of cleaned it up a little bit because of 508 reasons, which I'll get into. I'm going to go to page layout, okay? And I'm going to come here to print area, and I'm going to set the print area. Now, if I go to file print, it's just going to print that area that I've selected. I don't have to mess with, I have it in the quick, I don't have to mess with the page break preview. I don't have to mess with the page setup. It just puts it in there. Again, dialog box in the corner for your page setup. Go right in there. Okay, sheet tab, that's where all of your good stuff is for printing. Okay, the sheet tab and page setup. Again, you can go to set your print area. That's just the range of cells. So it's going from A1 to H30. I can put my rows to repeat at top. Well, these are the rows I want to repeat on every page in case it goes on to 20 pages. Columns you wanted to repeat on the side, you can do that as well. Printing grid lines, you want it to print in black and white. You want it to print in draft quality, rows and headings. That would be the rows and columns things. That would be A, B, C, D, and the numbers. That's all your print settings. Again, you can hit preview real quick to see what it looks like, you know, and kind of format it from there. Again, you can get to page setup as well right here. Because you can mess with the page setup as you're playing with the spreadsheet. Okay. One more thing, applying borders. So right now this has borders up on the top here. So right now, if I want, and you can clear the print area there too. If I want borders to just be a different look, select whatever you're doing. Come to home, and here's your borders, okay? You can turn on a border, the bottom, the top, the outside, the no border. You can change the borders. I mean, there's so much to this. You can put one in the inside. I just wanted to show you that. Now they're all on the inside. So you got to select something in order for this to work. So don't just, you got to have something select. I'm sure you would. So just make sure you're selecting something to come here and do that. Okay? And you can change the color, the style, the type, everything right from here. You can turn them off. You can do no border. So now there's no border, you know what I mean, for that. Okay? Alignment, that's quick. If you have the cell and maybe it's real big, and I'll do the merging thing too. Like right now, this is merge and center, but maybe you want that text in the middle. Come to your alignment grouping and just play with your alignment here. You have middle alignment, you have top, bottom alignment, and then you have your left justify and right justify and all that in center. So that's right now centered, and this is this is merged. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and get into alt texting because I'm done with all the little quick and dirty things I want to do. 508. I have I know we got 5 minutes left. I have 2 pages or 3 or 4 pages at the end of your quick reference guide with the guidelines for CMS for 508ing. For Excel, your data, it's just, there's a lot of things, it all depends on your spreadsheets. You guys have a lot of merged data in here. That's a no-no because you gotta make sure that JAWS, the read aloud software, Magic, all the accessibility software can read and see these things. Okay, merged is bad. It's not good. You're not supposed to be doing that. So this was merged. If you're trying to trick it, and as Craig and me talked, trying to make things look pretty. There's certain things you can do, but merging, I know merging and centering makes everything look pretty. If I hit this, bam, wow, that looks great. It looks awesome, but it's really should be off. And how you can get that to be off is just take your borders off. And you can still kind of center it a little bit. I know it's not merging across all of the columns, or you can just put a header footer on it. That's another way to trick. If you don't, maybe, you're like, you just want this gone. You could just delete this whole thing out of here because you're not merging and centering anything. Go up here to page layout. Go to your page setup dialog box and put it in the header and footer. Put your title here and it'll still print. It won't be visible, but if it's extraneous and it's not needed, if the spreadsheet's called that, it's going to be read aloud anyway. If the spreadsheet doesn't need that inside of it, just name it or put it in the header and the footer, okay? And then when you go to print it, it'll be up there. That might be a good way to get out of that. Because merging and centering and merge cells are not. And blank and empty cells, I saw a lot of blank and empty cells in here. That's confusing. And that might be confusing to somebody that's sighted as well because it's like, why is there an empty cell there? What's that? You guys, I think this original spreadsheet had a lot of that and I cleaned it up. This is actually much more 508 compliant now than it was before. That's a big no-no. I have all the guidelines at the bottom. Like I said, at the quick reference guide, don't merge cells. Make sure your charts have alt text behind it. So, okay, where's my chart? My nice little pretty chart I made. Here it is. Charts. You got images, logos. Make sure it has alt text on it so that can be read aloud. Again, your alt text has to be under 255 characters. So I'm going to tell you, if your JAWS is reading that whole big, long thing about your chart, don't type, Office of Information 400, and then you're writing this long, that's way too much. Just quick, something quick, because the chart doesn't need all that. It's up here. So you don't need to write all that behind your charts, okay? That's too much information and even if I was listening to that, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm done. Like, I don't want to hear this anymore. It's too much. Just keep it quick and short to your point. Any of your images, charts, under 255 characters, okay? Keep it under that. So for this chart, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click. I'm going to select it first because Excel needs to know what you're selecting in order for it to work, okay? So I'm going to left click on it. I'm going to right click on it. And I'm going to go to Format Chart Area. Okay, Format Chart Area is over here, and we're going to come to Size and Properties. There's your alt text, okay? Title, got to be short and quick. So this is total CMS employees, okay? just a quick title and then a description. You can write all groups covered for total employees here at CMS. Something just to briefly describe
Is
it.
that the bar graph?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
bar
right.
graph showing
Right.
X percentage
Exactly.
of women employed at CMS as
Got it.
opposed to
Perfect.
Y percentage of men. And that's it.
That's perfect. Awesome, wonderful. Wonderfully built, said, short to the point. 508 with Excel, there's a lot of guidelines, font restrictions, certain things, but I have the guidelines. If you need help with it, just let me know. You can PDF this stuff as well. PDF has a whole other restrictions. I didn't get into that, but I can show you guys that if need be, okay? My information, I didn't put it up in the, but I can certainly show you guys real quick just in case you need it. I'm at C20712, 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. The ILC is open.
669.
The extension is 66904. If you're outside of there, it's 410-786-6904. We're here to help you guys. Please let me know if you need any more help with your, we can remote in, you can come see us, you can email us, our email address. I gave you guys the brochure. The people on the phone, I can pull up our guide real quick just so it's filmed and everything. I can show you guys our guide. There it is. I'll pull it up real quick so you guys can see it. There's our information right there. Okay?
Thank you.
And once we've got the YouTube video back and it's been approved and such, I'll send it over to Frankie and he can send it out to all the participants to have
All right.
a link to. And thank you very much for
Oh,
coming
you're
down. This
very
was
welcome.
very.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Thank you so much for having me. And please let me know if you have any questions. If you guys wanted a further training, I'll certainly.
Well, that's almost a definite. So.
Okay, good.
We're going to debrief and find out what we learned. And then,
Take in this information, and take it back. And like I said, if you guys have more questions, please let me know. I mean, like some of this stuff, I don't know, I gotta look it up.